Okay, new stuff. What exactly might be on as far as new stuff? Alright, so let me give you a breakdown. I think, obviously, about the least, if you're blowing off one thing, it's not wise, but blow off imperialism. That's only the last 8 questions or so. Otherwise it's equally divided between, in fact, there's almost as many review questions as imperialism. So, if you're only going to study 2 things, Gilded Age and progressivism. Alright, the first few Gilded Age questions are quite easy. Definition of robber barons, definition of Gilded Age. Where it starts to get a little trickier. I would look up the Dawes Act regarding the Dawes Act pertain to.
The Dawes.
Yeah, the Dawes. Yeah, pertain to Native Americans.
What was the Dawes Act?
The Dawes Act again tried to Americanize the Native Americans, take away their customs and turn them into white people. It didn't work out. Then I think you'll be in good shape because there's a bunch of here's a quote, here's a chart, etc., etc. Okay, so then lots and lots of questions about urbanization, including the filth in the urban areas, why they were filthy, problems with political machines, settlement houses, newcomers versus oldcomers. Yes, again. I always leave this question in and kids complain, but it's because the Turner's Frontier thesis, I would review that real quick.
That was don't go because it's already settled, right?
Yes, or you can't go because it's already settled, so hence you're stuck in the city slum. Who was the Gilded Age politician who was assassinated by a crazy guy who wanted a government job?
McKinley by Sion.
Okay, let me finish the sentence. Who was assassinated by a crazy person who wanted a government job? If anyone, Eve? No, have you studied this yet? Yeah.
Can you give us the choices? I'll tell you out of the choices.
Their choices are in alphabetical order. They list the Gilded Age presidents. Arthur, Blaine, Cleveland, Garfield, Hayes.
Hayes.
No.
Garfield?
All right. Garfield. So Garfield was assassinated, and who was Garfield's successor, who was also supposed to be corrupt, but who created an important law about taking a civil service test? And what was the name of the important law about taking a civil service test? Pendleton Act. Eve, last period I told you that you would be the only person to study this. I think Green has outdone you. So again, I think you need to learn 1 or 2 things about these nothing crap presidents. But I think if you really want the A or A+, almost more so than studying imperialism, because remember, imperialism, there's fewer questions, and they're pretty straightforward. So if you have 15 minutes, instead of imperialism, ideally you'll take an extra half an hour and do both of these things, but do 1 thing for each of these 7 presidents. Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley. Hayes, Compromise of 1877, just how we came into office, ending Reconstruction. Garfield, what he did was he got assassinated. Arthur, what he did was the Pendleton Act. Okay, so we're just on.
What did Cleveland do? He shot those people, right?
He got elected twice, but not in a row.
And he's a Democrat, yes.
Didn't he have protesters shot or something?
Oh yeah, he did. Boy, that's more knowledge than you need about Grover Cleveland. That's useless. That's the second Cleveland. That's Cleveland, the 24th president, not Cleveland, the 22nd president.
He's 2 people?
Right, but we remember we count them in U.S. history as 2 different people. All right.
Does that mean Obama was whatever president and now the new president?
Hayes, Garfield, Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley. Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley. Remember Benjamin Harrison, the grandson of William Henry Harrison, another president we didn't study?
Chris.
Cleveland was a Democrat. He's the only Democrat between Buchanan and Wilson. So he only had 2 Democrats between Buchanan and Wilson. Cleveland and Cleveland. All right?
Harrison ever gotten any achievements?
Yes. Harrison, not very important. Okay.
That's good luck.
Okay. Then again, this is why, like, I think the imperialism part is to study less than the farmers, even though you already studied the farmers there's some pretty hard farmers questions. For one, why do the prices always go down for the farmers? What basic problem do they have? How do they shoot themselves in the foot, so to speak?
Because the technology kept on getting better and better.
So what's the key word?
Inflation.
Overproduction. Farming more, overproduction. Okay, so how did the farmers want to solve the lower prices overproduction issue?
Inflation.
So how do they create that? Yeah, free silver. Increase the money supply might be
Is that bimetallism?
Yes, bimetallism, increase the money supply, free silver. All right. Which person would have most likely voted for William Jennings Bryan in 1896? A president of a bank, a Northern Republican,
Farmer.
an Illinois farmer in the midst of repaying a mortgage. Okay, which person would have most inclined to vote for McKinley? An owner of a silver mine, a president of a bank, a southern. Okay, so just again, it's the same thing as the last time. If you're only studying one election, you're probably slightly underdoing it because the election of 1876 and the compromise might have one question, and the three-way election of 1912 might have a couple of questions. But if you're only going to study one election, that's like a fifth of the test, 1896. Because after those specific minute questions is a whole page plus, is there not another plus, speaker question, on, and the intro is, base your answers to the next 6 questions on the discussion below, speaker A, B, C, D, E, about the election of 1896. So I tell you the election, and it's all sorts of different perspectives. There's a Democrat, a Republican, a populist, a banker, a free silver, or a
populist,
just a general citizen, etc. So you really, again, have to know that election inside up, outside, upside down. 1896. Yes.
Populist one, like the Omaha platform and stuff, right?
I haven't come across that yet, and remember, you had those modified true false on Omaha platform, so I don't think you have to relook at that unless I tell you.
Yeah.
All right. And then another question. One result of the presidential election of 1896 was. So do it. 1896. All right. Then, so after the election of 1896, it skips right to progressivism. So that's another thing you could skip is the McKinley presidency. Not that we did much with that in there. All right. So I would say the next 40-something% of the test is progressivism. I would know your muckrakers.
Those are the journalists.
I would know some names.
Sinclair, Reese,
Steffens, Nast.
What did Reese do?
Reese was photographed slums or stuff like that.
Changes in election laws. Steffens. Political corruption, cheating, ballot box stuffing.
Like the secret ballot?
It wasn't secret. The boss filled out all the ballots and stuffed them
Did
in.
you say Nate?
Nast.
Who's Nast?
No, he's the guy.
The guy who drew Tweed as the vulture. So again, it's pretty detailed pretty quickly after the first couple of bones I throw you on the progressive era. The coal strike, more muckrakers questions.
Wait, what was the coal strike?
Yeah.
Swine.
Go ahead.
When the people quit because their working conditions were bad, and TR
Sided with
the workers.
the coal workers, not the robber barons.
What's the definition of robber baron?
A rich guy who sort of cheats the system and keeps the man down. I would know the Hepburn Act.
What was that?
What was the Hepburn Act?
I'm pretty sure it was for building bridges and canals. I just wrote it.
You got it right on this. It strengthened government regulation of business, gave the ICC control over railroads and canals and stuff. There's only one Taft question.
Is it like who he came after?
Dallas foreign policy.
No. Well, there could be one on that side. There's only one Taft domestic policy question. But then the election of 1912, there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 1912 I would know.
What was Taft's policy?
What?
What was Taft's policy?
It's a general question about Taft, not about his weight.
He's a Democrat, right?
Okay. No, he's a Republican. He was TR's right-hand man.
Oh, yeah.
Then the last 8 questions are imperialism, but like I said, I think they're pretty straightforward. Yellow journalism, Spanish-American War, Roosevelt corollary, dollar diplomacy. Yeah, so it's just not that.
Is the stuff we learned today going to be on the test?
Period 4, yes.
Screw you, Peter.
What'd you guys get?
That means we do.
That means that we are a better class.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
What was the,
Yeah, that's right.
what were the changes in the election law?
you know, like during the Progressive era, they stopped letting the boss stuff the ballots. So they actually had secret ballots. They made a 16th or a 17th Amendment.
It wasn't the LTR.
It was sort of under TR, but things like women's suffrage, that's an election law change. That's in a state-by-state basis. But in general, they made it sort of like a democracy. People vote for secret and put it in the ballot box and it's counted, like how it's supposed to work. Yes?
Was the Declaration of Sentiments written in Seneca Falls?
Yes.
I just read New York on it.
Period 3. Any further questions? Do not forget to return your test.
What's a